So you're stuck using pentatonic boxes and you want to incorporate some triads and thinking about chord tones and intervals in your blues playing? Well, to see how to do that, just hang out to find out. So what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to look at all the intervals around this, right? Around this A7 chord. But you can apply this to anything really, right? But we're just going to look at this one chord. Now out of this A7 chord, so we've got a blues in A, a lot of you are just going to be playing box 1. Now also you might play box 2 here. So you've got box 1, which is the minor pentatonic, which you can play over an A7 chord, or box 2, which is the major pentatonic. Both work. And some of you will play in and out of those different boxes, and that will give you a bit of a mixture of major and minor. But what we're going to do is really think about the notes in the chord and how we can use those notes and expand out of them. Right? Now, the first thing we've got to do is to learn, and this is really cool, by the way. It's really super cool. You'll love it. It was a lesson I gave to a student very recently, and I just thought, man, this is going to make such a really killer lesson on YouTube. So here it is, right? Firstly, you've got to understand how the triads work out of this chord, okay? Now, the triads just being the 1, the 3, and the 5. This is dead simple. It's this. Triad 1, triad 2, triad 3. Now, we're going to use these triads as a way of playing out of. We're not going to use pentatonic scales. It's going to sound dead bluesy without really using pentatonic scales at all. So we're going to start with this triad here. Now, this is root, 5, 3. And all we're going to do is we're going to start with this note and we're going to explore the possibilities around this note, right? Because this note is the first note in our triad. So from here, I know this is the root. So I'm thinking, what have I got going up here that's going to be bluesy? What have I got to the left of it? So I'm looking left and right of it. So if I look right of it, I've got this, right, which is root, 2, minor third. Am I there? So that's what I've got going on right of here. I'm not thinking pentatonically here. I'm thinking intervalically. There's my root. I might go 2 to minor third or, which is quite B.B. King-ish, right? So that's what I've got. That's what I can explore here. Now, if I go left of it, there's not as many options. Now, the flat 7 to me is like going out the back door. So I'm going here, my house, out the back door, yeah? I could go, those are my possibilities. Now, this flat 7, you can tweak this a quarter tone as well. Now, it's not only the minor third you can tweak a quarter of a tone. Enough of your doobies, Big Jim. The flat 7's great for tweaking as well. So that's what I've got there. So now I've explored everything around the 5th fret of the E string. So I'm going into the next note in my triad, which is 5th fret of the B string. This is the 5, and I'm seeing what's around there. Now I know that the 5 is there, obviously, therefore the 6 is there, and the flat 7's there. Those are my kind of next bluesy notes. Right, I'm going back to the root, because this is part of my triad. Now I know that bending that 6 into the flat 7, it's a cool bluesy thing to do. So I've explored options off the E string, the B string, and now the last note in my triad, which is the major third. Now there's tons going on around the major third. What I've got is the major third and that minor third. Go into the major third. All right, and I've also got the 4. All right, the 4 acts as a bit of tension. Then I've got the 2. So I might go 2 to minor third to major third. Root. Or I might use the major third into the 4. Minor third. So I'm playing around with the 2 into the minor third, and then the minor third into the major third. Quarter tone, half tone. Yeah, there's loads there. Right, now we're on the D string. So the D string, there's our root. Mostly I'm just going to go to the flat 7 there. I've also got the 6, which pulls into the flat 7 to the root. But I'm thinking intervallically, I'm not thinking pentatonically, all right? Some of the notes, I grant, are in the pentatonic scale. A lot of them are, but that's not what I'm thinking, right? And it's how you're thinking that dictates what you play, right? So I've got notes out of that triad. I've got notes out of that triad. Now I'm going to go on to this triad. So this is the 5. So I've got 5, flat 5, 4. So around here I'm going to exploit that. And the cool thing is that because the intervals are changing on each string, I've got different possibilities. Each string is giving me different ideas to do in that area. You know, if I want the 2 flat 3 sound, I'm going to go here. But if I want the flat 5 sound, I might go there, or I might go here. I don't think we talked about that on the G string. So I've got that as well. So on that G string, there's tons, isn't there? There's the 2, minor third, major third, 4, flat 5. And the flat 5 works very well in a minor context. Yeah, but the different strings are making me target different intervals because those intervals are there in that area, right? So on the A, I might be doing that. I'm kind of going a bit flat 5-y because the flat 5 sat there, right? Now on the low E string, it's basically the same as the high E string, but this, I'm probably not going to be doing that because it sounds, it's not jumping out as much, right? Because it's the low E string. I'm just going to do that most of it. And I'm going to go down to that flat 7, right? So, the triad, I mean, the last triad is this, but I'm really seeing it coming off this note because I'm seeing it coming out the chords, yeah? But I'm basically sitting around that triad and playing ideas around that. So let's just play around with that triad a little bit. Let's go back to that triad and explore ideas of how we might play that triad and that triad. So I might do something like... So I'm sitting around there and there, right? I'm doing the minor third to major thirds, 5 to 6, and then I'm walking up that 1, 2, flat 3. Flat 7, 5. Exploiting the flat 5 there, the flat 3 there. But you can see how the triad is my, it's my foundation, it's my scaffolding, right? And then out of the triad, I'm thinking intervallically. I'm not thinking pentatonically. Flat 7, minor third, root, flat 7. So there you go. You can do that at this chord, but you could do it at this chord, this A7 chord. You could do that A7 chord, so any A7 chord you want. Think about the notes in it, or the triads, right? And then think around those foundation notes, those chord tones. What intervals have you got around there that you can play around with? And it's really good to do what we call limitation exercises. So just, solo out of that triad. ban the D, ban all the other strings, right? And really get as much as you can out of that. Because guys like BB and Albert were very good. You know, Albert was very good at. He's very good at exploiting that area, and BB. Very good at exploiting that area. And they could sit around that area for days, weeks, years, right? And make it sound cool every time. So keep yourself in one area, get as much out of it as possible. But there's so much really cool stuff in that. Have fun. Catch you next time.